So if somebody's talking to you about somebody else, trust and believe that person is talking to somebody else about you.
This week on the Shameless Podcast.
Today, our topic is on office drama. Don't we just love it? We've all seen it. We've all been dragged around and trolled around. And in some instances, some people have even regretted the way that they've handled something. But I can tell you one thing. I have regretted not being dramatic, not being the office drama queen. That's one thing I can tell you. But the key is without losing your cool.
If you're going to do that, then you need to know how to spot the signs of office drama. You always have juice on this. So DK, step number 1, what do you do in order to handle drama like a boss?
Don't get stuck in. So step back, remove yourself from a space, and essentially try to maintain a certain level of objectivity in a conversation and try not to react. Because sometimes when you get taken over by your emotions, it's very easy to react, very easy to become rude, very easy to get sucked into this thing, right?
Sometimes protecting your peace could also be venting. You need to understand who is safe to vent to. Don't be ignorant, like, because I listened to the Shameless Podcast and they said it's okay to vent, so I'm gonna go vent to my manager, and your manager be like.
So if you lose sight of what you're trying to achieve, it is very easy for you to get caught in a web of emotions and the rest of it.
If you want to be a transformation leader, you need to understand how to navigate office politics because it's there without getting dirty.
You need a job? Let's be practical. You are where you are. What's the step that you can do to get yourself a better opportunity? Be ready for that opportunity. And it's a tough mindset, I think. What do you think? Because you've exited it before.
Sometimes we are afraid to do something. You fear shame. I don't want shame. We're trying to break that burden by sharing stories of courage, resilience, and we want to be able to celebrate your story.
Shameless.
Hello, wonderful people. My name is Dzikamai Gangaidzo, and I am the host of the Shameless Podcast. Today we have on the other side of the line.
Hi, my name is Nono Bokete, and I am the Chief Ambassador of Transformation Leader. To find out more, go to www.t4leader.com. And yes, this is a plug.
Yeah, at least you're authentic and honest about you plugging your thing, right? You just like straight up like, yeah, this is me. This is what I'm about.
We're trying
So
to
click on that thing.
1 million lives by 2026. So I need to remind people.
And that's not going to come easy, and it's not going to come without freaking plugging everywhere and every way that you can.
Exactly.
So then now today, our topic is on office drama. Don't we just love it? We've all seen it. We've all been dragged around and trolled around. And in some instances, some people have even regretted the way that they've handled some things. But I can tell you one thing. I have regretted not being dramatic, not being the office drama queen. That's one thing I can tell you. Well, I've been like, I wish I didn't take that high road. Like, I wish I was that guy who just went with the whole thing. I just did, well, in the gutter, we are going together.
Deep dive.
And you know what? To this day, I regret it. I'm like, I remember the one instance, some guy was talking. I was there like, you know what? I wish I could be like you because this is so dramatic. Anyways, moving on. But no. In your view, then, so you've seen it. You know what we're talking about. Why on earth does it happen? Like, why? How? I fill me in because
It's like the egos are definitely probably playing, you know how, it sounds so terrible, but a dick measuring competition is how it feels. And I know that people, when we say that, we usually like are referring to our male counterparts, but she's got it too. Like, you know, that proverbial, like, we want to who's better type things. Sometimes, you know, power struggles, miscommunication can also be one that's like maybe not as drastic, but can cause drama to happen. And stress. you're now short-tempered. You don't have the pressure is high, and now you're throwing your toys out the cart.
And sometimes it's because I haven't drank my coffee or eaten breakfast. Like, I'm just cranky.
Exactly.
I'm out there busy being dramatic, like, Kanye West in this bit. But then the subsequent and more natural question to follow up to that is, who is this episode belonging to? Who actually might gain by listening to sort of a discussion on this?
I think we should be focusing on anyone who is dealing with workplace politics, gossip, or toxic co-workers, and you want to come out on top because, of course, there's always a winner. But
take up the high road. Take the high road.
Any other environment, it's a win-win situation, and there's no winner.
Yes,
winner,
exactly,
and you
exactly.
get a car, and you get a car.
Exactly, and that's what you be selling. So you don't be out here telling me about winning in workplace.
I have no shame.
You got no shame. You got no shame. Say straight. All right, cool.
My real thoughts. You come to this part.
Exactly. So you're winning. Work, politics, and drama. You're winning. You're like, this is it. But the key is without losing your cool. I think that is actually pretty fair. And
I think that if you're going to do that, then you need to know how to spot the signs of office drama. You always have juice on this. So I'm
me. So in order to spot the office drama, you have to be in tune with the office gossip. So you need to know what's going on. You need to be like inside the gossip. You need to be sharing your own gossip as well. So actually quite the opposite. I think sometimes spotting it can be the signs of what it looks like. And so quite frankly, people who love gossip, so if somebody's talking to you about somebody else, trust and believe that person is talking to somebody else about you. So if there's a gossip culture or gossip space, then you need to be wary of that, conscious of that, and then also be prepared to either to not be part of that and not to perpetuate that. Yeah. The other one is one thing that I really struggle with sometimes are passive aggressive people. And to be fair, I have to put my hand up on this one because sometimes I can be a little bit passive aggressive, but I think
being honest about it.
Shameless. But I think the key is to know that you might be and why it is. But why is it a sign of potential drama? Is that if people aren't able to have authentic conversations and frank discussions, there's a chance that we're not confronting and dealing with things. And so a passive aggressive approach to things sometimes might butter over an issue, but in the end, you're not really confronting an issue and then dealing with it. And in the end, it can perpetuate itself in a theatrical or dramatic way, as opposed to in an authentic way, because you haven't dealt with something. Another aspect is cliches and like power play and just stirring the pot unnecessarily. So like, I think that too many times you find some types of people who just get into a space and they feel a certain need to do things, even though the room is not necessarily on that energy. And I think if I was to talk about three, those would be my top three signs of like what it is. Do you have anything to add or to disagree with what I've said?
Yeah, I think that I would say anyone who's doing there's an office victim and an office bully and emotional manipulation. In this day and age, adults, full grown adults, there was a stat that came out that a grown man reaches like mental maturity at like 40 plus years old, and a woman, I think, at maybe 20 something. And maybe they were 30. I think it wasn't as young as 30. But they get there.
Wait, hold on. Oh, no, I'm stuck on the man being 40-year-old. You're like, yeah, no, maybe it's not
Yeah, it takes a
24, it's
while.
27.
Apparently it takes a
No,
while. Yeah, it
for a
takes
man to reach full maturity.
yeah, like in the brain. Apparently they did like these brain scans on people, men and female, and men actually reach mental maturity later than females.
Yeah, I can agree with later, but 40? Like
Yeah,
that's like,
but I think that's good, right? Because maybe that's when you start
no.
balding. You like if you think about it, you probably start
Wait,
balding
why bolding? Why bolding? Why is this like,
now
what
you're
this,
old. You're
this is
now
a full set
you're
of
not
hair?
you're
No.
your mind.
Moving on. I mean, I'm just not even gonna, okay.
I also think like a sign of a place that has like office drama, toxic bosses, and they're out there in the troves. Okay, there are many, and I've heard horror stories, and you go, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe your boss did that." In my head, I'm like, mm-hmm. But like we said, this show is going to be talking about how do you rise above. So we're going to go through a pro playbook on how to handle drama like a boss. And you can check out more of this type of content actually on our website at www.t4leader.com. Because yeah, we're talking about it, but maybe you want to see it, take it off and go on. So DK, step number 1, what do you do in order to handle drama like a boss?
So my own personal one, right? My number one thing is, and I really hate doing this, but don't get stuck in. So step back, remove yourself from a space, certain space, and essentially try to maintain a certain level of objectivity in a conversation, and neutrality within a space, and essentially try not to react, because sometimes when you get taken over by your emotions, it's very easy to react, very easy to become rude, very easy to um not to get sucked into this thing, right? So somebody's being passive aggressive, you take exception to it, it triggers you. The toxic boss says something that triggers you. You go into it, and then suddenly you go in, then now your worst version of yourself is out, and you're deep in it. You can't get out, and you're like, but my mama told me better than this. You're a survivor. And it's just like, it's just not good enough. And I think that has a certain level of emotional intelligence associated to it, and that ability to step back, then go, I'm not going to be like that, you know, kind of my inner Beyonce rather than my inner Kanye.
Well, you can try with that whole stepping back stuff. Like if that's something that you find difficult because you're already like getting stuck in, people could also try the gray rock technique, but you can't tell someone, I'm using this gray rock method on you. Basically, you want to give short, straightforward, emotionally devoid responses to any questions that are required from you. And some people have said that this works. I personally don't know how to do this, but you can avoid eye contact when you're using the gray rock method. And that allows you to disconnect and focus your attention on an activity that you're doing or something else that's going on around you than actually like straight up getting stuck into what someone is saying, right? In a way that is not confrontational.
Okay. So just to confirm, when you say, I was like, great rock technique, a different color rocks out here, but I guess what I understood you say is, you don't need to be combative, and essentially find ways not to have an elevated emotional state.
Yeah, you want to just disengage without being rude, because now if you go,
Okay. Without that stank.
what's the other person gonna be getting more in their heart? And then, well, here we are, drama, and I'll be there with my pop. I wish I had popcorn with me. Yeah, I had popcorn earlier on. I should have kept up with this moment right here. But like, yeah.
But then, so talking about engaging with people, right? Would you say that there's something about addressing it without blowing up that somebody needs to be able to manage. And so that gray rack technique is wonderful. But is there more to addressing a problem without blowing up?
Like, yeah, like, as in, that's the right answer, right? So is there a way to address a problem? You mentioned it. Your EQ needs to be on 11. And if you want to be a leader, you have to have control of your faculties. Okay? Your mind needs to be a skill trap. You don't want to be known as that person who is a gossip person, because that's going to diminish your credibility. And if there's something that is giving you issues, have frank, straightforward conversations with someone. Speak up, and also realizing, because you have a high EQ, when to let it go. You know what I mean? I have this concept of, does a queen, like, mingle with the peasants? Like, and I know it sounds terrible, but it's like, I have to say those sort of things to myself, because I am someone who is, as you can tell, very passionate about like life things. So I can easily get like really incensed, and I have to kind of go like, I have to self-talk myself off being like crazy and reactive, and just be
Don't
like,
push me because I'm close to the edge.
Especially if I think someone is being treated unfairly, or there's injustice or an inequality thingy. Those are really like my hot topic buttons. So I think that, address it, diffuse the conflict, just go, hey, can we talk? And tone, timing, the art of not taking the bait, because some people are drama mongers, and they'll be like, I know that she doesn't like this, so I'm going to say this. And you just have to find yourself holding yourself like, but I know I talk a lot about managing emotions, but are there any other techniques that you have actually applied in real life, DK, when you are in a situation? Because I think you are a master. I don't think you even get upset. I feel I'm more likely to blow a casket than you.
I think from a managing emotion standpoint, look, I've had instances where I'm blown. But I think a lot of the time it was around taking the time. So actually just stopping and going, I don't need to respond now. I don't need to react now. Because that is at times that defies or defeats the purpose. Number two would be, why am I here and what am I trying to achieve? And always remembering what that goal is, right? So if you lose sight of what you're trying to achieve, it is very easy for you to get caught in a web of emotions and the rest of it. And then that leads me to the last one, which is about looking at it more as a problem than a problem to be solved, as opposed to a battle to be won, if you get what I mean, right? So it's like, okay, so clearly I've done something, and this is now escalating the emotional space that we're in. So how do I solve that problem? How do I go, I'm not fighting you, I'm trying to get to this goal. How do I navigate from your perspective and understand what you're saying? Because a lot of the time people have a reason why they are being emotional. So I think sometimes extending that emotional space allows for you to be able to do the rest. And that then I asked the question to you.
Okay.
Since we're doing this back and forth thing, which I didn't really realize.
You hate your boss. Honestly, with that coffee slurp perfectly timed to cut off your every brilliant thought. The office gossip, a full-blown soap opera starring everyone you wish you didn't know. And Jack, the guy who just got promoted? Yeah, we both know that promotion should have been yours, but let's be real, you're not quitting. Not yet. So, instead of planning your exit, Take this course, How to Thrive in a Toxic Work Environment, for only $12.99 at t4leader.com. Because if you're going to stay stuck for now, you might as well learn how to win while you're there.
If you thought this course was useful, please leave a positive review and share this with your community as you join us in our journey in impacting 1 million lives by 2026.
Would you say, and it's more about that when I said, and looking at it from somebody else's perspective, is there anything around boundaries, setting boundaries or protecting, like how do you still manage to create boundaries, and what does that mean to you?
Protect your peace is definitely a big one. But sometimes protecting your peace could also be venting. Because I think that it's okay to vent. I think that's a human thing, right? If something is frustrating and then you have to bottle it up, you might pop, right? So you need to understand who is safe to vent to and who it's like, this is a career limiting move, right? And to your point of being emotionally intelligent, I also think be situationally aware, understand the lay of your land, the context. Don't be ignorant, because I listened to the Shameless Podcast and they said it's okay to vent. So I'm going to go vent to my manager, and your manager be like, maybe they'll be smiling at you going, I totally get it. In their head, guess what? You're not getting that promotion. So just be smart about who you're venting to. And when you're setting those boundaries, you want to rise above it. Just don't do office gossip. If you can't say something to someone's face, and I really live by this, if I have an issue with you, I want to look you in the white of your eyes.
Is that?
I want you to know that me, Nono, has an issue with you. And if I am just if I don't have that opportunity, I actually don't know what to do. It's very stressful for me. Because I don't know why. It's just that's how I let go of whatever it is. It's just I need to have a direct but professional conversation with you about this is what the boundary is. This is what's okay. This is what's not okay. And it's a conversation, right? Because they're also going to be saying, hey, maybe when you said that I wasn't good for nothing, whatever, it hurt my feelings. I'm like, oh, sorry. I didn't know that the truth was something hurtful. You don't respond like that in those situations. You need to be very empathetic. If you're going to apologize it and mean it. If you're not ready to apologize to somebody, just listen. And then it's okay to actually walk away, right? And come back later when you're ready, or just say, we're going to have to agree to disagree. But don't talk when you're in high emotion. And I think the last thing on the point of setting boundaries and protecting your energy is that if this drama in the office is getting wild, there's always HR. But you also need to know, remember I said the manager go smiling at you. HR is the same. The people, they're smiling at you and then they're not your friend.
Can you believe that person was not even joking about so this inside seeing WhatsApp group. And you know what is so crazy about that? Because you can talk to different people and do all of those things, but I think the biggest person that you owe the most credit to is yourself, and how you build that reputation of who you are, right? Because I think your honor is your word, and sometimes there's that Fred, Fred, right? Fred, every time you see, this guy, sure, oh my God, if no matter what, he's gonna have something to say, something to be dramatic about the next person, all that one. And so I think if you're gonna be true to yourself and give yourself the best chance of a reputation, and then it's important that you don't. And sometimes people know that, hey, I'm petty. And with my petty comes a little bit of drama, but it is what it is. This is what I am. But you know that that's the reputation you're going to build. And so I think, for me at least, that becomes my North Star, if I can call it that. What would I like to be remembered for, and the reputation I'd like to build?
Mm-hmm. No, I 1000% agree with that, because if you want to be a transformation leader, you need to understand how to navigate office politics, because it's there, without getting dirty. And I think that, to your point about the North Star, that solution focus, letting your work speak louder than the noise, is what's going to actually get you there, because people are going to understand that. But there's obviously the shameless way, right? You need to know when to walk away, because some environments are just toxic. No matter what you do, no matter how many episodes of Shameless you listen to, it's not going to change the fact that, girl or boy, you are in a toxic environment. So I don't know, like, there might be some times to leave and protect your peace. I think I have a shorter, more idealistic viewpoint on this, so I'm not going to answer this. But maybe, DK, from your point of view, like, what signs is it that it's time to leave and protect your space, but you're thinking, I need a job, so what's my exit strategy?
So the first thing for me, right, because, dude, before I walk away, I'm going to fight. I'm not going to go down like, it's like, without, like, I think I'm going to go into the darkness, into the night, like, just with a whimper. No.
But even if the place is super toxic and you've tried everything, you're still going to continue. Like, when it's too much?
When it's too much is, I first have to pass that point of having tried.
Okay, well, past the point.
I'm getting there. Let me land. I'm trying to land here. So there was one time I had somebody come up to me and they said that they didn't like being in the team and they actually wanted to leave the team, which I found absolutely fantastic and commendable. And because I do think it was a very difficult thing. But then there are no readily available opportunities. So I was just like, you know what? That's fine. It's great that you said that to me. Where would you like to go and how do I facilitate that? Here's a little bit of feedback that I can give to you about wherever you're going to go next, because are you running away from something or are you running towards something? And then the second thing is, what is your plan of exit? Because though you're not happy now, you need to build a sort of roadmap as to that exit and or the rest of it. And the reason why I use that example is that it's advice that I've given somebody. It's also something that I've taken on board myself. And so if it's too much, then it's about being relentless at the idea that you know where you are right now. The situation will not change immediately, but what is important is to build a roadmap. And so you set a target, I'm going to apply for dojo jobs, or I'm going to build X skills. I'm going to give myself a time frame, and every single day I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something that gets me a little bit closer to that goal. And every day that you do something to that goal, to get closer to that goal, when you set the target, that is you working towards that exit. And you need to be clear as to where that exit looks like and what it is that you're trying to aim for. Because if you don't have a direction where you're going, you'll just settle for the next thing. You end up in the exact same setup. And in the end, you'll start to question whether it's you or the place that is making you feel like it's a toxic environment. And so 100% about what you said. You need a job. Let's be practical. You are where you are. What's the step that you can do to get yourself a better opportunity? Be ready for that opportunity. And it's a tough mindset, I think. What do you think? Because you've exited it before.
Well, to find out more, check out our next week episode.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me that. What? No.
Quick recap.
Oh my goodness. This is such, oh.
Mhm. Hi, my name is Nono Bokete, and thank you for joining us.
Hold up, no, where then? At least give me that. Where can I go? Because you catfished me. I was like, so now I'm going to find out a little bit about where can I find this thing?
You can go to Forbes.
I don't know why I zoomed in. I don't know why I zoomed in. It zoomed in. I don't know. My camera just zoomed in. And then it's just paper. I mean, I'm in the workplace where the guy just zooms in the camera like.
I think maybe it follows like your hand movement, so you might need to like squeeze it or something. I don't know. But anyway, if you want to find out when to quit, you can go to www.forbes.com and check out my article of 7 questions you need to ask yourself before you take the leap of quitting your job. So, quick recap on this episode about trying to stay above.
Did you say Forbes?
Yes. Stop.
And how does that got anything to do with you?
That's where the article about 7
So you write for Forbes?
I wrote it. Yes, I did.
For Forbes.
Yes.
Just
Okay. All right. So do you want to give us a quick recap with your close-up?
Since it's the close-up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look right at the camera, right? And I'm going to give you a little 1-2-1-2 on the.
Like, where can I get this camera? This camera is doing the most. I need a camera like
doing
this.
The most.
Like,
it's looking into my pimples, and I'm like, guy, why are you looking into my pimples? The thing is, I gotta read the manual. That's the moral of the story. So, I think one major thing is what we talked about, right? Is to be able to detach from a situation. So that's stepping back. You need to be able to address issues smartly. So knowing and reading the room, but also exercising a large level of emotional intelligence. So that is managing your emotion. Different people have different ways of doing that, but it's important for you to find your own way that you can get that done. And then I guess it's important for you to be able to set boundaries and build a solid reputation. So know what the limits are, know when it is safe to leave, but then at the same time know how to leave. But your North Star is going to be about your reputation. You need to be able to keep that at the front and center because your honor is your word. And for me, that's what I'll take as a recap. But I do think that we'd like to give our listeners a challenge. What is the listeners' challenge for today?
Okay, so this week's challenge is commit to not engaging in any office gossip and watch how this your work vibe, okay?
For how long?
So just this week, that's the challenge for this week. Don't engage in any gossip.
Week, no drama. I shouldn't get involved in gossip. I shouldn't be dramatic. I just want to
be a true transformation leader for this week and tell us in the comments how this has changed your work vibe.
Sharp. No problem. From Monday to Friday, right? Not including Saturday, Sunday.
If you work on the weekends, then it includes weekends.
But also, if you know someone, right? And who needs to hear this. Well, alternatively, if you sit in a work environment that is toxic, do yourself a favor and just send them the link to this podcast. And just be like, not saying anything, but you might want to like listen to this. Especially for him. This one is for you, Trevor.
So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Nono, for joining me on my episode of Shameless Podcast. And this has been great having you today. Goodbye.
Awesome.
This podcast is brought to you by Transformation Leader. You can follow us at www.t4leader.com.